in the sky as the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades.
How can it be that cultures separated by such vast distances and indeed time have an identical story? Could it be that they're recording real events, that there was some kind of conflict between beings that originated from the Orion system and another group of beings from this Pleiades system? Could it be that these Pleiadians returned to their home in the stars? Do these similar ancient traditions provide a historical record that extraterrestrials from the Pleiades were forced to flee the Earth? Based on the legend of the native Hawaiians, some ancient astronaut theorists believe there could be another, even more incredible possibility.
Part of Hawaiian legend is that Lemurians used lava tubes for safe harbor from invasion. And I think that was a legend that is established on a war that occurred prior to the last great flood. So this was the Lemurians being driven underground. Many of them remained and some of them returned to the Pleiades.
Throughout the Pacific, there are also stories that Lemuria or Mu is now basically underneath the ocean. So if Lemuria was actually some kind of a craft, we have to wonder if it is capable of going underwater. And it's quite possible as well that these extraterrestrials are under the oceans.
If the events chronicled in numerous ancient traditions really occurred, is it possible that the Pleiadians did not retreat to their home planet thousands of years ago, but are still here and can be found somewhere deep beneath the ocean? Coming up,
the indigenous elders say this is where they go to commune with their otherworldly ancestors,
who began having experiences with these Pleiadian star visitors.
New South Wales, Australia. According to the indigenous population, distinctive rock formations in the Blue Mountains called the Three Sisters are what remains of 7 stone spires that once stood here. Locals associate them with the 7 visible stars of the Pleiades. To this day, the elders believe this area contains a cosmic cord, a sacred link to these stars that allows them to make contact with their ancestors. And some believe it is the site of their return.
There are definitely stories of Pleiadians in contact through the whole of that region, Blue Mountains and Gosford. It is where they've come down and worked with them. I've been with elders who swear to this day they have spoken to tall blue beings and they've given information to them.
In the paranormal investigation community, the Blue Mountains are considered a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity. Since the 1950s, there have been hundreds of UFO sightings. This corroborates the views of the indigenous elders who say this is a location where they go to commune with their otherworldly ancestors. So could this mean that these beings they call the ancestors have returned?
But if extraterrestrials from the Pleiades have returned to Earth after a long absence, why now? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining details from an alleged alien abduction event half a world away. Bogota, Colombia, November 3rd, 1973. Engineer Enrique Castillo Rincon is at home when a strange voice invades his mind. According to Rincon, this telepathic communication is from a cosmic being whose origin lies 400 light years away in the Pleiades. Rincon is instructed to visit a specific lake where physical contact would be made. Once there, he claims to have been taken aboard a Pleiadian spacecraft.
Enrique Castillo Rincon began having experiences with these Pleiadian star visitors. He says that he was chosen by the Pleiadians to be an ambassador actually be given a lot of information, the history of Pleiadian interaction with humanity and our true history as a species, and how the Pleiadians have been interacting with us for many millennia.
Some of the messages Rincon receives talk of great changes coming in the near future, including an imminent Third World War. You can imagine that this sort of information would be of great concern to the authorities. Indeed, after one of his public appearances, Rincon claims that government agents took him to Washington, D.C., where top-level officials interrogated him.
What made Rincon's case is that documentation subsequently has come out substantiating that the CIA did actually bring him to the United States for a debriefing.
Since 1973, other contactees have come forward professing to have been given similar information by beings from the Pleiades. Ancient astronaut theorists speculate that this increase in contact and the recent appearance of Oumuamua may indicate that they are preparing humanity for their return.
We know from many different sources that the Pleiadians have been interacting with humanity that are connected to us. So if that is the case, Oumuamua could be part of humanity's awakening to the greater cosmic reality.
Oumuamua, the first visitor from outside the solar system.
It's almost like a calling card, a business card of where the extraterrestrials came from. They came down from the Pleiades. Are we entering a new era of alien visitation, as ancient astronaut theorists suggest? One where we will see the return of the Pleiadians and other extraterrestrial races. Perhaps further evidence can be found by examining a second interstellar object that recently entered our solar system. Crimea, August 30th, 2019. At the Margot Observatory, amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov detects a strange object traveling through the sky. It is dubbed the Borisov Comet and becomes the second interstellar object ever discovered in our solar system. Nearly 2 years after Oumuamua traveled from the Pleiades star cluster.
The Borisov Comet is the second known object we found that has interstellar origins. It was traveling way too fast to have come from our own outer solar system, which means it has to have come from another solar system. Whether we're just getting better at detecting these objects or whether we're seeing this new kind of thing swinging by our sun, it's a really exciting time to be looking for things that are coming from outside our solar system.
This is kind of alarming to some astronomers because we wonder, are these cosmic messengers coming here bringing us warnings? Are they signaling something? Is this just the start of more interstellar objects entering into our solar system? And if so, how many more of these objects are we going to start seeing?
In 2017, a paper was published trying to estimate the number of interstellar objects that we might have. One estimate suggests that at any one moment we might have one Oumuamua-like object inside the orbit of Earth at any time. That shows us new possibilities of what's out there. We've had a piece of something from another solar system delivered to us. I think this is inching us closer to the discovery of life elsewhere. My personal belief is there is life out there.
Now, after the historic discovery of two interstellar objects that were delivered to our solar system, could a new age be upon us? One that will soon see the arrival of intelligent beings from another world.
If Oumuamua is an interstellar probe, we know now that it comes from the Pleiades. Is the Borisov object also some form of intelligently directed interstellar object? And are there other species out there that are also sending probes that we soon will discover?
In the earliest of oral traditions and the earliest of texts, everybody is waiting for someone to return. I hope that
official contact within our lifetime, meaning in the next 50 or so years. I've always said that the big secret will be when the hatch opens and they walk down the ramp, that we'll look at each other in the mirror because they will look like you and me.
Throughout human history, we have looked to the stars to guide our ships, to align our most sacred monuments, and to search for our place in the universe. But could we have a far more profound connection with these distant suns? And if so, are we on the verge of recovering this lost knowledge? Perhaps now that we are able to detect the visitors coming to our solar system from the far reaches of space, we will soon discover that humanity's origins lie not on Earth, but light years away. In the Mojave Desert, there is a structure built to bestow everlasting life.
People were supposed to walk in one door and come out the other, and they healed.
And according to the architect, it was designed by otherworldly beings.
You could communicate with distant ancestors or even time travelers coming and going from the Earth.
They showed him the future, and this was his destiny.
In your wildest imagination, you wouldn't come up with something like the Integratron. The dome was taking many different scientific ideas and melding them together.
Could this strange dome building really provide the key to immortality?
If we could figure out the Integratron, then for all intents and purposes, we could live forever.
There is a doorway in the universe. Beyond it is the promise of truth. It demands we question everything we have ever been taught. The evidence is all around us. The future is right before our eyes. We are not alone. We have never been alone. Santa Ana, California, February 9th, 1978. Aerodynamics engineer and inventor George Van Tassel is in his hotel room preparing to reveal his latest scientific discoveries in a television interview when he suddenly and unexpectedly dies. Friends and family members are shocked when it is reported that he suffered a fatal heart attack. Since Van Tassel, at 67 years of age, was in perfect health and had shown no warning signs. His sister, Peggy Magno, became suspicious when she discovered that the body had been cremated before she was even notified. And perhaps most curious of all, his wife Doris claimed that during her husband's funeral, their home was ransacked and George's papers stolen.
As soon as he passed away, mysterious vans and trucks showed up, and all of his equipment and plans and drawings and a lot of his writings were loaded up into these trucks, supposedly government trucks, and hauled away, never to be seen again. If the government found all this stuff important enough to show up right after he died and haul it away, then at least some people within the government believed there was something worth studying, something worth looking at.
But what was George Van Tassel working on that would elicit so much interest from the United States government and even prompt family members to speculate that he may have been murdered? While Van Tassel had been working on a number of intriguing projects, including an anti-gravity device, his masterwork was a machine he had built in the Mojave Desert called the Integratron. It was a machine designed to extend life and perhaps even lead to immortality.
George Van Tassel often quoted Corinthians 15:26. The last enemy is death. George believed that our lifespan is too short, and in order to get wisdom, we should live longer. And that's part of his motivation to create this machine, to bring wisdom to people. Because just as you're getting it together, boom, you die. If you could walk through this machine counterclockwise, come out the other side, and be 30% younger, what more could you do with your life?
It's in the middle of nowhere, it's incredibly flat, and there you see this white, round building with a half dome on top, and it's got these 16 sections.
Integratron was made in a way that is very ideally suited for capturing energy. And the way George Van Tassel thought of the Integratron as a battery charger, a way to prolong life.
The basic idea behind the Integratron was to introduce a machine through harmonics with which you then can rejuvenate your cells. Because if we could figure out a way from preventing our individual cells from deteriorating or getting older, then for all intents and purposes, we could live forever.
At the time of his death, George Van Tassel had just announced that the device he had been working on for 24 years was 95% complete and would be fully functional within weeks. When his house was ransacked during his funeral, the core of the Integratron and other critical components also disappeared, leaving no question as to what the intruders were after.
Those papers and that equipment, none of that has ever been seen again.
Could this unusual structure, located in the middle of the Mojave Desert, really hold the key to immortality? While it may sound far-fetched, many who have studied the incredible story of George Van Tassel are convinced that he might actually have succeeded in a quest for eternal life that has endured for thousands of years.
When we took a bite out of that apple in the Garden of Eden, we had knowledge. The price of that knowledge was that we were aware of our own mortality. And since that day, we've been looking for that fountain of youth, that way to extend our lifespan or maybe even live forever.
In 2018, archaeologists excavating the tomb of a Han Dynasty noble family in Luoyang, China, unearthed some of the earliest evidence ever found of human efforts to cheat death.
Recently, in an archaeological dig in the Chinese burial chamber, an ancient 2,000-year-old bronze pot was recovered with the remnants of a substance that was later determined was probably an elixir of immortality.
Ancient Taoist texts confirmed the liquid substance to be a legendary potion brewed by Chinese alchemists, granting eternal youth to those who dare drink it. Lab results revealed the potion is largely made up of potassium nitrate and alunite, which, while not poisonous, are used in pesticides, fertilizers, and rocket propellants.
It's a powerful reminder of the fact that humans, probably for thousands of years, have had this sort of desire to extend our lives.
The Han Dynasty elixir is just the latest of many ancient attempts at immortality discovered by archaeologists over the years. But what drives humankind to seek eternal life? Is it merely self-preservation? Or could there be another force at work? One that may be connected to the fact that every ancient culture on Earth described the gods as immortal.
In ancient Greek myths, we learn of the food of the gods, which they called ambrosia, an immortality food. These beings possessed some form of a liquid or an elixir that ultimately somehow altered their blood and promoted immortality.
Some of the stories that we hear about this drink ambrosia is when the eyewitness is taken up into the sky. There are actual ancient Greek mythologies that describe these shiny star islands that descend from the sky and then under their own propulsion moved around. The entire Greek pantheon of gods is based on visiting extraterrestrials.
Is it possible that humanity's centuries-old quest to attain eternal life is fueled by a desire to become like the otherworldly beings that our ancestors actually encountered.